Hi, welcome to Two Geeks and a Load Balancer. I'm Nathan. This is Chris. All right, following up on Kubernetes questions. What does Ingress? What does Ingress do? And can you explain the different service types of load balancing?
Yeah, for sure. So what I'll do, we'll start off with the services as that came in sort of last. There's a number of different services in Kubernetes, and the ones we want to focus on. We kind of talked about ClusterIP on the last talk, but so I won't focus on that one. But you got service type NodePort and service type load balancer. NodePort we kind of discussed before as well, and that's where you're exposing your application across all of your pods. And you're exposing it on a IP and a node port that's based on, it's on the same port, but it's across all of your nodes. But from a service perspective, from a load balancing perspective as well, the one we want to focus on the most is service type load balancer, which is best named. And what that is doing is that's kind of doing the same thing as a node port, but what it's doing is it's interacting with a cloud provided load balancer. And now when you hear that word cloud, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the public cloud. In Avi's case, for example, Avi would be that cloud provider load balancer. And so what that does is that service talks to that external load balancer. In Avi's case, it does it via AKO. And it provides a layer 4 load balancer for your applications running in Kubernetes. And that's just a simple service. It's a layer 4 service. You can give it a port and you can tell it which service it goes back to. I mean, the selector on the pods that it goes back to, and you're pretty much done. But as with everything in the world, simplicity is not key to the end, key to life. We unfortunately. We want to, especially in microservices, especially in Kubernetes, we like to complicate things and do more exciting things with them. And that's really where Ingress comes in. Ingress enables you to route to your pods, load balance to your pods at layer 7. So with Ingress, you can do things like terminate HTTP, apply a certificate. You can do routing at the host and the path-based layer. So you can go to specific services dependent on whether you're, host-based route or path-based route can go to individual services. And you can define listeners as well. So it just, it elevates the load balancing from layer 4 to layer 7.
Okay, what are we seeing in the wild? What are most people doing? More layer 4, layer 7? What's the?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say typically layer 7 is used the most. Ingress is used typically the most. It all depends on the application. For example, I mean, Ingress is HTTP, HTTPS only generally. What it is only is not generally. And so if you have an application, say for example, counting a database, for example, right? You want to run a database in Kubernetes. Most likely you can't expose that at HTTP, HTTPS. So you're going to have to use a layer 4 service. But for any web-based application, anything that's running HTTP or HTTPS or HTTP 2.0, gRPC, anything like that, you'll want to define an ingress because not only can you conserve IP addresses, you can have sort of, one IP, for example, in the case of Avi, can run 999 host-based routes. So I can serve IP address space, but I'm also able to, it's very prescriptive because I'm using FQDNs to route my traffic. And then, all I need to do is point a DNSA record, or with Avi, I can be the DNS provider. And I using DNS to route to an FQDN to route to an IP that will then send it to the bag.
Okay, all right. So we have a couple different types of services. Let's see if I summarize this correctly. Your favorite is the service type load balancer.
It's it's just a great name, So
makes sense. But you're going to have these, one way or another, you're going to have some form of you're going to have one of these solutions in place in order to be able to provide the load balancing service.
Yep.
Whichever pathway that you go. Generally, though, most things are HTTP based protocols these days. Not exclusively, but most are. So really, when we're talking about this, layer 7 is going to be where the focus is going to be. That is where the majority of the interest should be.
Yeah.
The focus. Okay. Anything else I'm missing?
Yeah, I mean, so one thing I will add, which is one of my other favorite topics, is
you had that face like you wanted to go and insert something in there.
Yeah, we talked about service type load balancer, we talked about Ingress, but now we have Gateway API and HTTP route, which is its own talk in itself. But I do want to sort of bring that into this topic as well, because it is a new, more modern way to provide ingress. And so you will see, I think, my opinion anyway, is that ingress won't be deprecated almost immediately, but I could see it happening down the road. And we'll move to this newer, more modern, more extensible version of Ingress Gateway API.
We'll get to that, and we'll get to that topic in a little bit.
I just wanted to drop it in here because don't want people thinking
Fair
I'm
enough. Okay, thank you.
yeah, no worries.